Okay, today is the day I'm going to tackle the landscaping project at the edge of my deck. My husband just finished the little sidewalk, paver sidewalk he put in, and this area here desperately needs landscaping. I've been on the property 13 years and I've avoided finishing it because I didn't know what I want to do. So what I decided I wanted to do is I am going to do a no-dig landscape area. So it's going to have compost, and then I'll put some mulch on top of it for decoration. And then I am going to fill it with ground covers, and we may put some decorative pots in this area. I got these trellises, I got 3 of them at Menards, and we're going to probably put it against that edge of the house, and I can grow annuals up it like morning glories and things like that. Got to get the wildflowers that are growing against the house out of there. Another one of the things I need to deal with in this area, and one of the reasons I'm doing no dig, is because I have a buried fiber optic cable in here, and I want to make sure that I don't ever dig into that area. So doing no dig is one way to start. The other thing that I've done is I made a map of this area where I measured it out from a 0 corner, so I know exactly where this cable is going to be to know that I can avoid it in the future. So to do that, I use this corner right here as my 0 corner. Then I measured all the way along this area, marking on a piece of paper where all of the flags are, so that I know where to avoid, of course staying 18 inches on each side of it too. But again, I don't plan on digging in this area other than the fact I'm going to put the trellises in the ground so they don't stick out above. The end of this walkway where my hose reel is, we haven't decided what we're going to do. I want my husband to put at least one more block in this area here, and then the rest of it can be just filled with mulch. I don't know what we're going to end up doing, so I'm going to leave this area blank for right now. Maybe just put some cardboard under it, and we could always come back and lift the cardboard. Okay, kind of end of day 1. I only had enough cardboard to get a little bit, to get halfway done with the project, but I did put the composted manure on top of it pretty deep and started raking it out. So I have to get more cardboard to be able to finish this. But this little corner here really needs to cut across here. So I might be able to piece together enough cardboard to do that little section. But I need a lot more cardboard to be able to finish the project. The other thing I was able to do is I was able to install those trellises. So that's done. And I did a tiered drop down. I installed them so that they drop down purposely so that it's tapered, rather than trying to make it look perfectly flat across the top, and I think that turned out okay. You can see that I've got the cardboard underneath where the faucet's going to go, and I'm going to put mulch there, and then I'm simply going to put some stones on top of the mulch, and I'm going to put the hose reel just on top of that for now. And we might redo it later, but for now it'll be done. So at the end of week 1, we changed our mind on what we were going to do. Originally, I was simply going to put ground covers in, and we were going to put and leave it at that. And my husband decided at the end of that week that he wanted to do some raised beds for me. So he made these 2 cedar raised beds, and I'm going to probably extend my kitchen garden here for some of the things that I use. So at the end of week 1, this is kind of how far we got. Here's another view of it. So I've got the cardboard on the bottom, which you can see a little bit of the cardboard sticking out, and I needed enough cardboard to reach this area here, and I didn't have it. So now that I have that, I'm going to extend this area all the way down, and we'll get that project finished hopefully. I need to fill these cedar boxes, cedar raised beds my husband made for me, and then I need to finish some of the corner areas with compost manure, plant some roses, and get going there. So I had mentioned in other videos, when I get compost, I buy it in bulk and then I shovel it into the back and I shovel it out of the back of my truck. So that is how I move it. It is so much cheaper to do that, and then I don't have bag waste in the environment. So this is how I move compost, and I fill my bins with 100% compost. This is composted manure. So this is what it looks like. I'm halfway done with this project. I am working on finishing up my east of deck project. It's a new landscaping that I'm putting in, and I thought I would take a break and kind of show you where I'm at. I'll probably be changing it around for the next few days, if not a couple of weeks, before I have it where I want it. But let's take a tour. Let's take a view from the deck, this side of the deck, of how this new landscape project looks, which again is east of the deck. I'll walk around here so we can take a little peek. What's really nice is I have these 2 containers, which I'm just loving right now, that I put together earlier in the spring, and they're really starting to fill out and look really grand. So what started out as a simple project became more and more complex, which always seems to happen. So when I started this project about a week ago, I was going to put ground covers in, try some ground cover challenges in this area. It's kind of a nasty slope coming down, and I thought that would be a good idea. But in the end, my husband came back after I started the project and decided to build 2 nest boxes, which are really kind of nice. So he just built these 2 for me. So let's take a tour so you can see kind of what I have in this area. One of my newer finds is this large ceramic planter. I got this on sale for like $135. It is over 3 feet tall. It's huge, and that was a good deal. I got this at Menards, and then I put a container in there, and they're looking a little sad because I transplanted the petunias, and I got another climbing vine in the center and some other flowers. I had my husband go to the nursery area in the garden and pick out the flowers he wanted me to plant in here. He likes doing design work as well, so it's fun that we can do this together. And I think it looks pretty good. What do you think? So just taking a look at the front area of this deck again. So originally this was a little set of steps coming out the front. I wanted my husband to build a full display, meaning putting steps all the way across. So we did that. And when the green treat boards age over the winter, then I'll come back in the spring and I'll paint them blue as well. And then he put in these little pavers, and I'll have to come back in and plant some grass on the edge, but I'm not in a hurry for that since we are still in the heat of summer. I actually got my first dahlia blooms. I've already deadheaded once, and we have more that should be coming any day now. We've got some nice heat coming, and the plants are looking really healthy in here. Coming to this corner, I actually planted 2 different roses. One is a hybrid tea, and another one is a like a carpet rose. And then I have this skyrocket juniper here, which will be 15 feet tall on the end and really flank the deck really nice, be like really nice columns. It's probably going to take a few years. These are the fastest growing ones, I think, so maybe in 5 years or so. And then this morning I just repotted up some clematis vines in containers. I have a video that I did early in April about how to plant clematis in containers, and I started with the cheap versions from Walmart for like $5. So it's been 3 months since I did that original video, and I potted into 1-gallon containers, and I've just now, 3 months after the initial planting, have already had to pot it up into a 2-gallon container. I'll try to put some B-roll so you can see what the root system looks like. It was crazy. And I am just loving this way of doing it because it's allowing me flowers right away. I've already had some blooms on these, which is insane for a first-year clematis cutting. So I'm going to probably be doing this in the future to get the root system well developed before I would possibly put them in the ground. But this is this little corner here. Here is my little bird bath. This used to be in my the front of my house, and it's a nice copper bird bath, and I really love it a lot. The birds like it. It actually holds a full gallon of water, believe it or not. And what I did is I put these little half moon trellises behind it, and I have some mandevilla vine that I overwintered from last year. I have other pots like this one here that I had taken cuttings from that mandevilla and propagated it. And I'm going to let that grow up these curved trellises, and I think that will look just amazing with the bird bath there. Down below I have different annuals, various annuals I bought really cheap. They were like $1 a piece, and I potted them up probably the end of May in these little 4-inch containers, and they've grown to this size, and they're just ready to be taken out, and I just haven't gotten to it. So I haven't decided what I wanted to do, but I thought I would just kind of set them on the ground and take a look to see how I like this. It does kind of add a finished look to this. Again, these are all annuals. Hopefully you can see that okay. Let me know what you think. Do you think I should plant these here, or should I put them somewhere else? Let me know in the comments. I don't know. It's always fun. I always change my mind. Why don't you help me decide? On the ground here are these little plants. These are actually squash plants I decided to put in here, and they'll crawl all over the ground and fill this entire area, which should be fun if I don't have the vine borer moths come in. I decided to plant later in the year to try to break the cycle of that vine borer moth, which tends to kill my squash and vining plants. So let's see if I am successful. I might put a little aluminum foil, or some people do paper cups around the bottom of them to try to keep them healthy. But these really came fast. They've only were planted from seed about 3 weeks ago, and they already look good with some true leaves. We'll have to wait and see how that turns out. So I always end up with random stuff. When I go shopping, I buy things. I'm like, oh, I could really use it for something. And I maybe change my mind. And then I end up with random things. So I have these 2 obelisks. They're structural right now in the garden, and I will put some kind of a climbing vine up probably inside of them. I just haven't decided what I'm going to do with it just yet. So stay tuned for that. Taking a look at these raised beds, let's see what I got in here. I have some cut leaf lettuce that I planted from seed a little while ago, onions, and then I have some peppers I planted from seed that are very, very small. I'm hoping they'll catch up. We'll see. This is a bright, sunny location, so I'm hoping that it'll do fine. And then that's some thyme that I planted from seed, I think, as well. Pretty sure I planted from seed. And that's going like crazy. And thyme happens to be one of my favorite herbs. So that's that garden bed. And in this raised bed, I have planted some more seeds. So what I've got planted are radishes, some more carrots. So I planted some radishes, some carrots, and something else that I can't remember at this time in this area for seeds. And then I decided to plant an artichoke. This is my first artichoke I ever planted from seed. I don't believe it's the right variety for zone 4. So what I'm going to do is I will start again next year, and I will switch to the imperial variety of artichoke for zone 4. If anybody knows if there's another variety that will work in zone 4 that will stay as a perennial, let me know. I love artichokes. I'd love to be able to get some planted, and I think I will end up using them in my landscape. I happen to have some oddball things I planted in this little corner. I have some petunia that I took for cuttings of and set them in here to see if I can get them to root. And then I have some elephant ears that I overwintered, and these are just the smallest ones. I just threw them in here just because they're random pieces. Then I have some sage in this container that I also planted from seed. Continuing in, this is going to be my battle of the vines. So I put these trellises against the house here. And I'll probably have to do some more reinforcing. Maybe I'll have to put some rebar in behind it to try to hold it so it doesn't cave or pull once these vines start tugging on them. But I have 3 different vines, all planted from seed. These ones are morning glories, these are cathedral bells, and these are cardinal climbers. And they're planted way too thick, I already know, but I want to see what happens. I'm getting towards mid-July here, and I want to get all of my nursery seedlings planted in the ground and figure out what I'm going to do. It's going to be about time to start harvesting and canning here within about 2 weeks. I want to get all my nursery stock put away. And then I have another clematis here that again I transplanted recently. So taking a look at this side, I just recently started pulling some of my spruce and pine trees off here. I kept some of them there just to kind of fill in the blank space as I'm waiting for my other flowers to start blooming. This is an Asiatic lily that I just brought out here this morning, and maybe it'll last for another week and then I'll have to find another home for it. This is a nice Asiatic lily, and this one is called Centerfold, and it's white, which I really want. So my daughter's getting married next year and we're going to do bouquets, and it's going to be about this time of year. So we're looking for options of what we can plant, and I think this might be a good contender since it's blooming at the time we need it to. I'm going to take a quick pan of the top of the deck here to kind of refresh where we're at. Things are really growing fast. I need to come in and do some deadheading, but everything's looking pretty good. There's my newest Clematis. That one I purchased this year. That one is called Fireworks. That one's doing lovely. If you enjoy garden tours, please give us a thumbs up so YouTube knows to share this content with others. Also, consider subscribing so you don't miss any of our other great videos. Thanks for stopping by. Have a great day.